Okay, Paul, go ahead.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll walk through each one of these. And yeah, the slide may be a little bit misleading. Platfora is not just in the middle. It runs across the entire, each three of these buckets here. So what I'll do is I'll walk through real quick. I'll just show you the visualize for a second, just to set the stage for what we're going to look at. And then we'll walk through, okay, how did we get to this point? How do we get to the point of the visualizations that we're looking at? Now, I will go through the workflow. Okay? So I may refer back and forth to this slide. So by coming to this is obviously the visualization area. And what the sample data set that we're looking at here is web-click data. So for a retailer. So as users are on the website and they're clicking through the different product pages and they're putting things into carts and they're checking out and making purchases, they're capturing all of the web clicks. It's just the analysis of those various web clicks. So, again, a lot of the things you see through other visualization tools, we do things a little bit different and more unique that I'll get into a little bit later if we have time. But, just for a casual user, they can just come in and quickly change the look of what they're seeing on the screen. And there's many different ways you can visualize the data. I'll just walk through a couple of these things that you've seen from other tools from a visualization perspective, where second is none in terms of how you can look at various data. So the question is, okay, how do we get to this point? How do we get to looking at this data and presenting it visually on these, we call them viz boards, but on these dashboards? And it starts within our data catalog. So let me go to the data catalog. And this is where we actually start describing the information that's introduced. So there's two areas of the data catalog. There's the data text, where we describe the data that's introduced, and then there's something called reference. So this is the information that's actually materialized in template. So I'll go back to the data set, and here's all of the different data sets that have been described that live within my HDFS or within my Hive cluster. And there's different ways you can look at it. If you prefer more of a list view, you can see from the list view all the different data sets, get some information like how it's updated, where it came from, how many lenses are actually sold on this particular data set. You can search through the data set, so if I'm looking for customer information, let's say, quickly look for particular information that you want. You can tag information as well. So if I'm looking for maybe my retail data set, I can tag everything. So it's a way of organizing all of the various data sets that are stored in HDFS. So here's an example of my multi-click stream data set that's been set up for me. And what I'll do is I'll show you how we brought that in and how we described it. So let's assume I just got a call, got some new click stream data that's available in HDFS. We want to make it available for our annual. How do you go about doing that? So step one is to add a data set. So right now, and if I just go back here, I'm in my describe page. I'm going to describe the data set. Somebody just told me that there's new data available. I'm going to add a data set. And here are all the different clusters that I have access to, the different folder structures or HDF folders that I have access to. And I'm going to look in this one called Bullseye. Here's my weblog file. You can be placed in the file, a single file, but they could be partitioned by time or partitioned by day, and you would just select a high-level folder, but I'm just selecting this one file. And then we start walking through the process of describing the information. So it'll take the file, it'll look at the structure, and then it'll parse that structure. And depending on the type of file it is, it'll make a best guess in terms of how to set it up and how to lay it out. So obviously this is it's a limited file, really just having trouble reading it, but we can also JSON files, Avro files, WebLog files, XML files, etc. So depending on the file types, we'll go through and our parser will parse the data out accordingly.
Yeah, it's
And
on
then it's a
we
matter
also
of
do
going
ORC,
through-
but it's not on that list. I don't know why, but of course. Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, was there a question there, Chris?
No, I just answered
Just
it.
have a few
Yes,
questions.
Okay.
yes, sir.
First of all, can I work across data sets?
Yes.
Okay, how does it relate the data? Do I have to define the relationship, or does the...
So work across data sets, Paul?
Yes. So I'll show you how you do that.
And before,
How it
and
works
so
with data sets.
the benefit,
So we're just
Hold on,
we're
hold
just
on, hold
defining
on.
a-
Hold on.
the benefit of working with the Hadoop cluster is I don't necessarily have to define, so like Sanjay showed us the weather data.
Uh-huh.
The way to parse it is the weather website decides it.
Yeah.
What if that file type's not in here? Like, is it
Right.
possible for me to define in my own parsing logic?
Yes, you could go in there and basically define their own parsing logic.
What kind of file?
Say the weather data or like a weather data environment.
That the weather website gives the
The
logic.
weather website gives you all the information.
Yeah, you can set it however you want to parse it. For example, XML. I've got a customer that wants to parse menu data in XML, and as that comes in, you define the different structures as it's coming in, whether it's nested or not, and set it up to parse it appropriately, and split it out and come up with the data set that you need to. So there's a lot of logic that you can apply to it.
Well, I think the question was, are there call-out, is there provisions for call-outs for custom parsers?
Is there provisions for call-outs for custom parsers? Is what the question is.
That's what you were asking, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the benefit of the whole Hadoop.
See, in the file types, you have several listed. The
Yes.
question was, like, you get a file similar to weather,
Uh-huh.
there was no pattern to it. Would we go in and define a whole custom pattern using,
But we might have to write a Java
Yeah.
program or something to actually parse that data and extract it. Or
Right, so can they basically do custom Java to parse certain fields that they may want to that when we bring it in?
Yes, so there's a number of ways that you can do that. You can write a UDF, a user-defined function that if there's a particular column of data that you want to work with, you can create a UDF that does that. We've got a lot of functions that do parsing for you as well. So if you want to, if there's JSON embedded in this file, for example, as you're bringing it in, you can parse out the JSON out of a particular column. If there's IP addresses or things like that, or URLs, we've got user-defined functions already built for that to parse data out of that. So there's a lot of flexibility that you can do.
Okay, keep going. We've got about 10 minutes.
Okay, so I'll keep going. Okay, so in addition, so that does the initial parsing. Then the next thing is, okay, what are some other things that we want to do? So there's a series of features that you can add to the data set as well. So you can add references, which are basically joins to other data sets, set up drill paths, so you've got natural hierarchy in the data itself. You can set up a geolocation, you can add computed fields. So this gets into some of the things I was just talking about, where you can parse out additional strings right out of the columns of information that they're brought in. And you can see there's a whole host of functions here: aggregate type functions, data type conversions, IP conversions. In the area of general processing, here you can see we're pulling a lot of, if you have an IP address, we're pulling out the different geospatial coordinates. So a lot of different things, partitioning, roll-ups, which essentially allow you to do data processing. So a lot of different things. As Chris described, we're kind of setting up the recipe of how we want to bring the data in. So as an example, if you look at this, there's essentially 11 columns of data. So let me go back and show you the finished data set once this is all set up to be used. So if I cancel out of this here and go back to my bullseye data set. So this is the finished data set, the QuickStream data set. You saw in the example we had 11 fields that we brought in. Well, this is the finished one. So this is the finished recipe, if you will, or the finished data set. And there's over 40 columns that have been defined and set up just based on the different calculations and functions that we can apply within it. So again, if I go back to my edit, you can see here's all of the original values. And this is what we were just looking at a little while ago. So these are all the base columns that came in. And then here's all the measures of all the different computed fields where we're doing partitioning, where we're pulling out the session ID, we're pulling out the session start date by looking at all of the cookies and start and end dates of the cookies and determining when the first one came in, whether or not this is a first visit, a return visit. So you can see a lot of different types of capabilities here in terms of when you're reading in and setting up and transforming the data and basically building out that recipe. There's some case logic in there.
Right, now on the right-hand side, you're seeing basically the description expression. That helps a lot of your business users after you kind of help them define some of the data. It kind of, gives them kind of a recipe to understand what really, is there.
Okay, so, and then down here's some of the references. So these are other data sets that we're pointing to as well. So if I want to, add a reference to another data set that's been set up, add a reference. Here's all the additional data sets that are out there, and this is basically where we're setting up our joins. Maybe I want to relate this particular data set to what we've got here, user data. So I would just say, okay, I want to link my cookies from the QuickStream data to our user data and add that. So now I've just created a reference or join in traditional terms, if you will. Okay, so once these data sets have been defined, the next step is to allow the users to go in and materialize the information and basically load the data that they want into memory. So as an end user, I could come in and say, I want to, let's say I was looking for some QuickStream data, search on QuickStream, oh, there it is, there's my QuickStream data that's available, and what I want to do is I want to create a lens. So this is the data that will actually get loaded into memory. So this is totally end user driven, and an end user would just come in here and say, I want to look at my bounce rates, I want to look at my card ads, exit pages, and then they would basically just go through here and pick out the different fields of information that they want. And you get some indicators here telling you how big the data set is. So, say if I want to bring in, the cookies, well, there's 81,000 different cookies, distinct values. I want to bring in, IP, latitude and longitude information. So the user would go through and specify all the information that they want, and then materialize that information into memory. And it's not just available for that user, but once you build a lens, it's put into memory, it's available for all users. Okay, so that's the concept of the lens. Basically a shopping cart where a user goes in, decides what they want,
Question, Paul.
and builds it out.
Question, Paul, hold on.
Question was, so is all of it done in memory, or is some of it written back to disk? I mean, depending on how big the data is and all that.
Right, so you've got this recipe that is basically a recipe of what the data is in Hadoop. You then take your recipe and you create what's called the lens, and you're only pulling the data that recipe asks for out of Hadoop. So it's actually auto-generating the MapReduce back and forth between HDFS to bring that data forward. Okay, so then the lenses are then visualized through what we call visboards. So then you go and you run all your, what-if scenarios, all your trend, behavioral, all those types of analysis, and then the resultants can go directly back into HDFS. So, lenses, you can have multiple lenses within an environment. Yes, sir.
So I think the answer to the question was you're saying you're not really a persistent data store. Your ETL is ETL to memory.
That's a way to look at it, yeah.
Your ETL to an in-memory.
To an
store
in-memory lens.
And then you have your query visualization tools that operate on that lens
Exactly.
in memory. Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
So the reason I asked that, so as a follow-up, because yesterday, and Sanjay was showing us how the MapReduce stuff works and process of setup, and it takes some time.
Mhm.
So how does that work if you're, joining data sets or running conditions or filters like that, it's running MapReduce in the background?
Right.
Doesn't it take some time to create that before it can, form the lens where you show data from?
It's all relative to the size that's going to be pulled into in-memory. But the thing is
Would you mind repeating the questions, please?
okay, sorry.
Yeah. So the question was that, yesterday when Sanjay was showing us how to do, can you hear me? You want me to use
When
the mic?
Sanjay was showing yesterday how to do MapReduce, it takes quite a bit of time. And so how are we
How are you handling that?
how are we handling basically the time it takes to do the MapReduce job, correct?
Let's say you have a 2 or 3 hour, let's say you have a 2 or 3 hour MapReduce time
Correct.
to get the data into the lens.
Right.
Right. So Paul, if we have like a 2 to 3 hour MapReduce job to get the data in, they currently do, how would that be supported or provide a better resultant through platform?
Well, well, once it's loaded into memory, then it's available for the users to interact with it. So what we're building here is really a compressed data mart, a columnar compressed data mart that's then striped or sharded across the different platform nodes of the memory. So then every time a user needs to interact, they're interacting with the lens. They're not regenerating MapReduce code every time they need to make another query.
But the
So,
lens is
as an example here, I'll click on this, I selected these different fields.
That's not
So this will generate a
So
lens,
if you need it for 2 or 3 days.
clickstream lens.
You can keep it in
And,
the lens.
we'll
You
see
need
that
data?
the,
Yeah, if you need the data in the lens,
MapReduce.
yes. I mean, the lenses, you can have multiple lenses that have.
I've got 100 gigabytes of lenses.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I better have that much real memory. Or at least.
It's memory intensive.
It's
Pretty much
very
like
memory
in
intensive.
memory,
It's-
quick view.
Right, right.
Okay.
So basically a view concept. It's
Right.
like,
So you can be commodity CPUs, but they better be big memory.
Yeah, I mean,
commodities.
I think
You don't
the,
need lots of disk, I mean, you need lots of memory.
yeah, you would need lots of, so basically our, and again, getting from a product perspective, it's sold on a per node basis. It's not a per user or how much data you have in your Hadoop structure. So if you've got a cluster of HDFS environment, we're about a 1 to 5, 1 to 8 type of technology, kind of comparison. But it is dependent upon the memory of the CPU.
And you specify how long you want these transient lenses to remain,
You can,
what
yes.
the lifespan is, or
Yeah.
they cycle that automatically?
They cycle it automatically and auto-generate the MapReduce incrementally. Every time new data is added into the lens, it can actually, it basically auto-generates that MapReduce to go back into HDFS.
Okay, so you're saying
So,
your
so
product
here's
is
an
probably.
example. You can see that this is the steps that are being run out on HDFS. You can see the different things that we're going through. We're doing some event series processing. We're building data dictionaries, and we're doing some aggregation. You can see the map of the reduced percent that we're working through. So you can see, and if you look here, you can see the various jobs, how long they take. And these aren't very large data sets. I'm working on a VM image on my laptop. But the point is that once you load this stuff into memory, then it's available to the end user. So as an end user, if I come back to my viz board and I want to create something brand new, here's a list of all of the data sets that are in memory and available for me. So as an example, I've got some meter data that's in there, and this is already loaded in memory. So this is available, and you just drag and drop. So, from an end user perspective, that's how you get that really fast turnaround time, and that interaction. So if I want to look at it by, let's say a month. Now you just then as an end user you just walk through and you've got that really snappy type interaction that's going on. Now one of the key points, so let me go back to one of the original biz boards that I started with here, because as an end user, and I'll show you some of the capabilities here. I think we're running short on time, so I'll go quickly. But as an end user, if let's say I want to look at a particular area, so here are my unique visitors trending over the last 30 days or whatever. And I can see that there's an anomaly here. There's a spike on this particular day. So I can isolate on this particular day. And so now we're looking at, for that day, I can open up my builder here and I can start adding more context to it. So that's for that day. Maybe I want to look at it by, here's that data set that we set up earlier. Maybe I want to look at it by hour during that day instead of just the date. So now I'm focusing on the hours for that day, and I can see that there's a spike right here. Now these 3 or 4 hours of spike, and I want to isolate on those as well. What I can do then is I can say, okay, well, let's look at it by the minute. So I'll come over here, but I don't have minute in my data set, in my lens. Minute was not included in there. So what I can do is I can actually say, all right, I want to derive a new lens. So I'll click on Derive New Lens. So I want to include all the current fields. And what it'll do is it'll bring me to my lens builder again. It applies those filters. So it only wants to look at, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock on the 29th. And what I want to do is actually add in a lower level of granularity. So I come down here. It was already been set up when we saw that hour was in my lens. But I want to go down and I want to look at it by second. So I want to see every second what was going on, because maybe we're running a special promotion or whatever, and I want to know the effect that promotion had. And you can see that, based on my original lens that was created, I'm focusing down now, and I'm looking at all the transactions by the second, only for these days, and my lens isn't going to be that big. So now I would go in and I can just regenerate the lens. It'll go out, regenerate the master code, and load that lower level of granularity in memory. So you can see it's totally from an end user perspective that I have control over the level of data I look at without having to call IT and say, hey, now I need an aggregate built at this level, or I need another aggregate at this, or I need a cut of the data at this length. I can go in and I can actually make the request myself. When I click the build and update button here, it'll go out, generate the map reduce, and then load the appropriate amount of data into memory for me.
Okay, Paul?
Yep.
So we've got a couple questions. We've got like 4 minutes. And there's a lot more to we can go through a bunch of different types of scenarios, but let's kind of open it up to questions and go from there.
So were those data components built automatically on the fly,
Yeah,
derived from the data, or was it something you had to describe?
sounds like they have to define it before, but like we'll ask.
Okay, so the date on that picture right there, is that something that was predefined, or did they have to describe it to get it in there?
When I set up my data set, so when I walk through that wizard where I set up the data set, that's where I decided that I wanted my date included in there. So I'll go back to that.
Right, it's part of the, right.
And so your target market, I take it, your target audience would be those enterprises that might have a relatively small number of users or a relatively small number of lenses if they're large. I mean, if you have 20 terabytes of data and you're pulling out 1 or 2 terabytes of lenses,
Right.
that's an awful lot of memory, real memory to have scattered around. And it makes the scale of your nodes, getting awfully large.
Yeah, so the scale of our nodes, it does scale horizontal, so you just add more nodes to add more memory. But as far as the target market or the corporations, leveraging or enterprises leveraging, you saw the slide before, but there's some pretty large, very large organizations that have, hundreds of analysts going against the data.
Doing unique lensing, or are they predominantly looking at a set of fairly set lenses that they're repeating every day or every month, and then 20 analysts all look at that different ways?
Yeah, so that's just it, is that the data sets and the lenses, there's permissions, and we basically determine who can see what from either leveraging your current. So they have access to create all their own lenses, and share those data set or those lenses with group members and all that type of stuff. When you go in, you saw where he had the list of data sets to pick from. As long as you're have the authority or the rights to do that, you can leverage.
But I'm saying to get maximum utility from your product, it sounds like if you're the kind of customer who has a fairly limited set of lenses you're looking at with large numbers of users that want to look at that in a common way, then you're getting maximum utility in the cost of product per use. It's not that you're best geared for thousands of users running individual queries all the time.
Right. Yeah, we can have follow-up questions. We're getting kicked out.
But
So
I think that's...
Any more Splunk questions we want to finish up with? No, I'm just kidding. So we can have follow-up and things like that. So we have customers that... Yeah. Paul, thank you very much, sir.
So you're breaking for lunch now.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, vegetarians.
Down the block, around the corner.
Vegetarians only, right here. This one, and it's next to the salad from last night. And if anybody wanted salmon wraps from yesterday, we had some of those left over. But otherwise, we have Jimmy John's for all the meat eaters over here.
Thank you, I appreciate it. But it sounds like you're in it from a user standpoint.